12 habits that will dramatically transform your life. And these are going to be 12 unorthodox habits. Hi, my name is Dave Hawes. Thanks for taking the time to come and watch the video. Today, what I'm going to do in this video, I'll try and make it short, but I'm going to take you through 12 habits that completely transform my life. And I think these are habits that not a lot of people are talking about, especially a few of them. And I'm going to go into detail about how they transform my life and how you can begin installing them so that you can experience the same transformation that I experienced. So number one, at the very top of my list is gratitude. And I know that seems like it's not a habit, but it is. It's actually the practice of expressing gratitude every single day. So every single morning, I wake up and I write out 10 things that I'm grateful for. And this is something that I was hearing about time and time again. And I was like, I don't know what's going on with this gratitude thing. And I actually remember the point when it really shifted for me was I watched Matthew McConaughey receive his Oscar, and he said that gratitude is reciprocal. And basically what he meant by that is like the more gratitude you express, the more gratitude you start to experience in your own life. So I basically went about and I just started doing it. And eventually what happened was gratitude just got turned on inside of me, or I became the state of gratitude, and I literally couldn't turn it off. Everywhere I would go, I would be, I'm so grateful for this sidewalk. I'm so grateful for my house, my wife, my car, whatever the heck it was. It was just always on, and I was always in the state of gratitude. And then that got me more focused on what I currently already had instead of always focusing on what I didn't have. And when you have gratitude for what you currently have, you begin to attract other things that you can express gratitude for. So another thing that you can do with gratitude is you can express gratitude for things that you don't yet have. You can say, I'm so grateful that I have $1 million in the bank, even though you don't have it yet. This begins to change your thinking and will begin to attract those things into your life that you want to attract. But it's really about getting connected to what is already good in your life. The second one is integrity. And this is a big one. And again, you're like, how is integrity a habit? But ultimately, the way integrity is a habit is just to stop telling lies. And it's the habit of telling the truth at all times. I have this, one saying that like, speak your truth even if your voice shakes. And this was a big one for me to overcome because I'm a people pleaser. I was a people pleaser. And it was very hard for me to speak my truth because I didn't want to create conflict with other people. So learning how to really get connected to integrity and where I just stopped telling any lies, I stopped cutting any corners that would get me ahead, really began to make me feel like a deserving person. And when you begin to feel deserving and worthy and like you're enough, you will no longer have subconscious blocks to experiencing any level of success in any area of your life because you will no longer be telling yourself that you're not a good person. Secretly, when we tell a lie, we're telling ourselves that we're not a good person. We don't deserve happiness. We don't deserve love. We don't deserve abundance. So if you can nip that in the bud by just being truthful at all times in all situations, you're going to start feeling like a deserving person. The third step is taking full responsibility. And again, this is an unorthodox habit, but it's the habit of just not passing the blame anymore. There came a point in my life where I had to take full responsibility for every single thing that had ever happened to me. Before I did this, I was constantly passing the blame. It was my employees, it was my business partners, it was the city I lived in, the country I lived in, the industry I was in. There was just constantly blaming all over the place. And once I finally came to this awareness that it was me and me alone that got me into this situation, and the situation I was talking about then was I had multiple failing businesses, I had a failing relationship, I was over $350,000 in debt, and I was blaming everybody for that. And then I finally was able to bring it all back and take full responsibility and come to the realization that it was only me that got me here. Nothing outside of me got me here besides me. While this was kind of like a hard pill to swallow, it was also one of the most energizing things that had ever happened to me, one of the most empowering things that had ever happened to me, because I came to the realization that if I was the reason that I got to this spot and it wasn't these external factors, then I could be the reason that would get me out of this, and the external factors would no longer be an issue for me. So taking full responsibility was crazy huge for me. The next one was give to receive. So this would be step 4. It's a lot of us have, it's in human nature. It's in the nature of the ego that we want to get. We're constantly seeking to get more. You're watching this video probably because you want to get more happiness, get more experience, get more money. And it's okay to want to get, but we want to be aware of it. We actually ultimately want to move to the place where we don't feel like we need to get anything, right? We're okay with who we are, but that's some advanced spiritual practice. So we're not going to go there today. Don't worry about that. But you want to start making a small little shift from getting to giving, right? It is in giving that we receive. It's anything that you give, you're going to get back 10 times over. So for me, this was about loosening my grip on money. I was holding on to every single dollar so tight, and I believed if I gave out $1, I wasn't going to receive it back. So I just literally started putting this into practice by giving money whenever I was asked. So these days you can get asked to give money all over the place, but you go to like the grocery store, Walmart, wherever, and they're out constantly, do you want to make a donation? And all I did was I just always said yes. And what I realized, two things. One, by saying yes to these donations that were helping charities, it had zero impact on my life whatsoever. I wasn't living a lower quality of lifestyle because I was giving money away. But two, it loosened my grip on money. I guess from that realization, I began to realize, oh, like I am okay. The third thing is it started making me feel like a good person. It started making me feel deserving again, and it started making me feel like I was doing something good. And then slowly that giving began to flow back into me. I then started implementing that same process into my business, into my life, just focused on giving, and then I began to receive in abundance. So give to receive would be the fourth habit. The next one is, I have it written down here, oh, this is a big one, is define your purpose. And this was huge for me. And the reason it's a habit is because it's kind of an ongoing thing. My purpose, I would say I am really fully connected with what it is I truly want to do, but it is still kind of constantly tweaking. So I want to be hyper aware of what that lighthouse is. Like, where is it that I want to go? How do I feel that I'm maximizing my potential in this world? How do I feel like I'm maximizing my impact? So constantly just staying in tune to that is the habit, right? It's just being like making sure that I'm on the right track. I'm going towards my purpose. If you don't know what your purpose is, I think I have videos about understanding what your purpose is, but a good way to get connected to it is real simply is, what would you do if money didn't matter, right? If you can answer that question, then you might get aligned with what it is you truly want to do. Or what did you want to do when you were a little kid before you started creating all these limiting beliefs that held you back, or you started hearing from mom and dad like, hey, you can't be a professional golfer or an artist because there's no money in that. And so then you went down a different road. So what did you want to do before all of the limiting beliefs came in? If you can get connected with your purpose and stay connected with your purpose, it's going to help keep you on track, help keep you energized, keep you moving forward. Okay, the next one. Now this is literally a habit, a very practical one, which is planning and the power of planning. Things that get scheduled are things that get done. And I had to hear this probably about 1,000 times before I finally started putting it into action. I made an entire video. You can check my my YouTube here with how I actually plan. But basically, essentially, is I'm just scheduling in the tasks that I need to get done every single day. And because of that, I'm able to get more done in a week than most people get done in a month. And you have that ability too, but you just have to go watch that video. I can actually get a link to it here as well, so you can check that video out. The next one is foundation, okay? So what is a foundation? A foundation is those 5 to 10 things that you need to do every single day to make sure that you have like a perfect day or you're living your best life. And for me, my foundation is like waking up early, meditating, journaling, expressing gratitude, exercising, learning, planning. These are the things that are my foundation. And if I miss one of those, I begin to feel like things are off. The thing that's important about a foundation is that we want to build our house on a strong foundation so that when the storms come, our house is able to remain standing. And this is like literally right out of the Bible. He's like, I can't remember what the term is, but it's like you want to build your house on a strong foundation, on a foundation of rock instead of a foundation of sand. Because when the storms come, the person who built their house on the sand, their house is going to wash away. And so what are the storms? Well, the storms are just day-to-day life. The storms are vacations, holidays, these things that throw us off and get us completely off track, and we might take months before we start getting back into our regular routine. So you want to have a good, solid, strong foundation of 5 to 10 things that you do every single day, and you do them no matter what. Doesn't matter what's happening in your life, doesn't matter if you go on vacation or it's the Christmas holidays or whatever. or something bad happens in your life, you're still doing this foundation. So foundation was huge. The next step is waking up at 5 a.m. All right, so 5 a.m. is probably the simplest thing that you can do to dramatically improve your life. And I know that there's a bunch of people saying you don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. or whatever, but for me, 5 a.m. worked. 5 a.m. doesn't work for you, then you just skip this one. But 5 a.m. is for me like the golden hour. It's the place where I'm awake before the rest of the world. While the rest of the world sleeps, and this is kind of what motivates me, I guess, while the rest of the world sleeps, I'm learning, I'm exercising, I'm meditating, I'm growing, I'm planning. You know, this is my time. My wife, my child, they're all asleep, but it's this time for me and me alone. Sometimes I'm out running and literally like it's pitch black and I'm the only person running on the trail, you know? So that is my time, and that is the time that has allowed me to, I guess, take my life to the next level, is when I was really able to install the habit of rising early. Maybe it's not 5 a.m. for you, maybe it's 6 a.m., maybe it's 7 a.m., whatever. I know there's people that wake up at 4 a.m. I don't know, but basically setting aside an hour of undistracted time is what you have to do, and that's what I do at 5 a.m. The ninth step is having a good mentor. Now this for sure, I think if I had to pick one, I don't know why I made this number 9. If I had to pick the one thing that was the most important to me, it was having a good mentor. And I was lucky enough that I had a good friend, business partner, that was able to kind of take me under his wing and show me everything, that all the mistakes that he had made, so that I wouldn't make the same mistakes. So, you know, if you're trying to get from point A to point B, if you want to do it on your own, you're going to go like this and zigzag all over the place. The benefit of having a good mentor is that they can get you to point A to point B and point B in the quickest time possible. So this is the power that exists when we have a good mentor. The other thing a mentor does is keeps us accountable, right? So you can say you want to do all these things, but until you actually start speaking them out loud to somebody and having someone holding you accountable, that's when you really start getting things done. So getting a mentor, whoever that may be, a coach, a good friend, a group, whatever it is, you got to have some sort of mentor, someone there that's been there and done that and can save you tons and tons of time. Okay. What else we got? Oh, meditation. Meditation for me, I mean, it is like a cornerstone of everything that I do. If I didn't have meditation, I don't know where I would be today. And I literally use meditation very practically. Like in meditation, I am seeking answers to questions that I don't have the answer to, or I use meditation to get outside the circle of what I know, to get outside of my analytical brain, right? And I can tap into the field of infinite intelligence, to collective consciousness. And this is how I stay creative. This is how I stay ahead of the curve. I stay on the crest of the wave, or the crest of creativity. And this is available through meditation. So I also have recently been using it for manifesting and visualizing the life that I want to live. So there's just so much power in it. Even if you just quiet your mind for 5 minutes, you're going to experience so much power. I'm not going to go into how to meditate here. You can figure that out on your own. Basically for me, it's usually 10 to 30 minutes in the morning where I'm just basically shutting my eyes and doing whatever it is that I want to do. So meditation is huge. The next one, 11, is learning. Daily learning. This is a part of my foundation. I am always constantly learning. I don't even remember the last time I've gone through a day where I didn't learn something from like a learning source, from an online course, from my mentor, from a book, whatever it may be, a podcast. I am constantly consuming a ton of information. The big key with learning, though, was what we don't want to confuse learning with taking action. Okay, so that's where I was stuck for a long time. I constantly kept on thinking I needed more information, more knowledge, all of these things, and I wasn't taking any action. So there's the saying that knowledge is power, but knowledge is power only if it's put into action. Okay, so you want to make sure that you are learning constantly and expanding that circle, but also you want to make sure you're putting those things into action. And then my last step is number 12. My last habit is the habit of surrender. Right? And what is surrender? And oh man, this is a loaded question, but essentially what it is like a giving over of everything to a higher power of your understanding. And this isn't religious. This can be, whatever you believe that's higher than you. And if you're an atheist, just try and tune into something that you think is higher than you. So maybe it's the the love of the family is more powerful than you, or the love of your country is more powerful than you. So then surrender that over to, surrender anything that is challenging you or is hurting you or that has been troubling you over to that higher power. So if you're experiencing stress, you can literally surrender that stress over to a higher power just by saying like, no, I give this to you. I don't want this anymore. I don't want this burden anymore. Please take it from me. So it's not surrender. I think a big thing about surrender is it's not about giving up. It's about giving over. Okay. So let me give you a quick little example on surrender. I recently had an experience with one of my businesses where we were having trouble getting insurance because of the whole COVID thing. And so within like a 3-day period, I needed to get new insurance because we were about to reopen. The government was finally allowing us to reopen. So in the beginning, I felt what I normally would feel would be the stress and the anxiety and the worry of like getting this thing done. But then because I was aware of that, I then said, oh, well, no, I'm just going to surrender the outcome over to a higher power. And that's literally all I did was like, everything's going to work out. It's about a trust, a knowingness that everything's going to be fine. And I was even surrendered to the fact that I might have to close the business permanently, right? So I was even that surrendered to the outcome. So once I surrendered the outcome, all the stress and anxiety and everything melted away. That didn't mean that I didn't still start getting on the phone and calling insurance companies and doing all of these things. I still did all of that, but I was no longer doing it out of stress or anxiety. I was just doing it. I was in a state of flow. And because I was in that state of flow, I ended up coming up with a solution, right on the day the day before we were about to open. And the insurance was about like $8,000 cheaper a year. So this is what is possible when we learn how to surrender. And surrender is literally a daily habit, a daily practice. Any time that we're having thoughts or unwanted thoughts or emotions, we can literally surrender them throughout the entire day, and that's why it's a habit. So I really hope that was beneficial. I know the video is a little bit longer, but if you enjoyed it, if you got any value from it, just click that like button and also subscribe because I'm releasing content every single Wednesday, and I really do my best to connect to my audience and what they need most and what will give them the most amount of value, because it is in giving that we receive. So thanks for taking the time to watch the video, and look forward to seeing you again.